Welcome back to Morning Express. It is now 22 minutes to 7, and without taking much time, we want to get straight into the dawn debate, and Michelle Ngele is going to be driving that conversation. But before she even begins that conversation, just to make it clear that we have invited Steve Mbogo to be part of this conversation, and also Jaguar, but so far they have not showed up. But we'll continue the conversation anyway. So over to you, Michelle.
Of course, before we do that, let's cross over to Patrick Amimo, who is live from our city centre studios, where the National Treasury is expected to deactivate some of the services of the Integrated Financial Management Information Services IFMIS for county governments by midnight. According to a circular issued by Treasury, the move is meant to prevent county executives from misappropriating public funds during the electioneering period. The Council of Governors has criticised the move, claiming it would paralyse operations for county governments. Well, let's now cross over to our senior political affairs reporter, Patrick Amimo, who is at our city centre studios for more on this developing story. Amimo?
Thank you, Michelle. This particular move by Treasury is meant to, as it says, to safeguard the misuse of public funds. This campaign, we are getting into the campaign period starting June to August, where now the National Treasury is concerned about some of the activities that might happen at the county level government, because they claim that some governors have been kicked out of office during the primaries, and they are only expected to hand over. We also have a situation where maybe the National Treasury fears that governors who are also participating in the electioneering campaigns might use some of the public funds for their own personal use to boost their campaign. That's why they are putting the National Treasury is tightening measures, and they say that now, starting tomorrow, for any money that will be above 5 million shillings, then the county executives must account for that money and give reasons on why they think that money should be withdrawn. So you see that the Council of Governors has expressed concern, saying that if the IFMIS system was to be locked down and the county governments be denied some of the services, then suppliers might suffer, because they want to. There are ongoing projects at the county levels where suppliers are required to be paid. But then the National Treasury says such payments, then they need to be communication in advance to show what projects are being funded, what has been paid so far, and what is pending. Because also we have had situations where the county governments have been accused of opening alternative accounts through private commercial banks, where most of the local revenue that is collected ends up in those private accounts at the commercial banks. So these monies that go to such banks are not accounted for by the controller of budget, because the controller of budget does not access these funds, and we've seen most of the county governments abusing these monies in reports that have been filed by the controller of budget and also the auditor general, whom says that some county governments have opened as more as 10 accounts with the commercial banks whose expenditure is not supervised by the control of budget, and this also opens an avenue for pilferage of public funds. So the National Treasury is very keen to tighten these loose ends and ensure that after the August elections, and when the governors hand over the reins of power to the incoming governors, then money is not misused. They find their houses in order. We've had cases where the county executives, maybe they are concerned that some monies are now being transferred in small amounts to different bank accounts, and they are looking at this as a case of possible money laundering. So various arms of the National Treasury at IFMIS have been activated to monitor the use of funds at various levels of county government. So we expect for the salaries, they will continue. Employees at the county governments will continue receiving their salaries, but some of the essential services that involve contractors and suppliers, then they will have to go through stringent measures before the money is released, either by the county executive. So they'll have to liaise with the control of budget and National Treasury to see how the monies can be released to various people who qualify, and that now needs to be followed with a clear letter indicating the kind of projects. Michelle?
Thank you so much. That is our senior political reporter, Patrick Amimo, who will be keeping an eye on this developing story and more details to follow in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you, Amimo. But here in studio, let's continue with our dawn debate now. And of course, like we mentioned earlier, we are focusing on Starehe constituency politics this morning. And we do have activist Boniface Mwangi, who is running for the Starehe parliamentary seat under the Ukweli party. We did also expect in studio Steve Mbogo, who is the ODM nominee for the Starehe constituency parliamentary seat, but he is not here yet. And of course, Jaguar also has not made it to studio, so we'd like to make that clear. This was meant to be a debate. But Boniface Mwangi is here with us in studio. Many thanks for joining us in our dawn debate.
Asante sana.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Now let's begin with a bit of controversy here. As of yesterday, police were seeking an arrest warrant for you, and this is because you and about 4 others were in court for charged with malicious damaging of a perimeter wall worth 13 million shillings. Are they going to come in here and get you from here? What's the state of that
So the
case
story
right
is
now?
not true. The context is last year we went to Naka Primary School. The school has about 356 students. The land had been grabbed, and the kids had been squeezed to a very small corner of the school compound.
Right.
The National Lands Commission said the school land belongs to the school, but the police never did anything about it. So we and other active citizens and the school community and the parents went to Naka, it's in Nakuru, evicted the land grabber and removed the boundaries wall, which was restraining the students from using the playground. So the fact is, it's the land grabber who went to court. The man is supposed to be charged for grabbing school land. He hasn't been charged. You know, this is Kenya. So we have been targeted for fighting a land grabber. So was there a warrant of arrest? No, it's not true. Because the land grabber is very powerful. He planted a fake story in the papers. That's I'm free, I'm here.
Is it proven, and you know, the way you demolished the perimeter wall and all the actions that you took, was that legal?
It was very legal. So just like Langada Primary School was legal, it was legal. And because of Langada Primary School and because of Naka Primary School, over 1,000 schools today have title deeds. So when the government fails to protect public land, we shall do it. Remember this, Wangari Maathai protected Karura Forest through the same means. Wangari Maathai protected Uhuru Park through the same means. As an activist, you do a protest as the last resort. When the law fails to protect the poor, when the government fails to protect the poor, you as an activist have a responsibility to do that. So today as we talk, and someone has taken me to court, and I'm very innocent, I'll be proven very innocent. The 300 plus students of Naka Primary School are enjoying their playground and in their school.
And you're a happy man.
I'm a happy man.
And of course, this is not the first time we're seeing you do this. I mean, you've been an activist for as long as we can remember. Boni is always on the streets championing for something. And your vision for the people of Starehe is that you want to turn these street protests into something better, a conversation in Parliament where the issues can actually be heard. But let's also focus on the fact that you have no political background. How are you going to do this?
I don't think there's anyone born with a political background. But among my competitors, I'm the one who has the most solid CV in fighting for Kenyans and the poor. I have a background of political agitation. That's enough for me to go to Parliament. And what I'm trying to go and do, the reason why I'm in the streets today is because the government does not listen to the poor people like me and the people that I represent. So I'm going to Parliament kwa sababu hatusikizi. Nenda bunge kama mwanaharakati, kama activist, to become the voice of the people in Parliament. One of the things that we complain about as a person who lives in Starehe is kanjo harassment. Whether you're a boda rider, you're a watchman, any informal trade that makes you out in the streets, even walking around is actually illegal when it comes to kanjo. And so I want to be able to go to Parliament and pass a law to say that kanjo should wear a uniform and informal trading is not actually legal. Let's formalize informal trading. If the government cannot create jobs, let's try and make that informal market is actually recognized by law, and that the people who work in the informal community are not criminals. Because every day, wende Gikomba, wende South B, wende Ngara, wende Marikiti, wende Kariako, wende Landamawe, every day, the people that I want to serve are harassed by kanjo. And so they wanted someone who can champion for them, who can go to them to the streets or into Parliament. And in Parliament, I can pass a legislative agenda that protects these people.
Right, and somebody who's in touch with the grassroots, and also with the fact that you did this under the Ukweli party, so you didn't go through the party nominations that were, so shambolic and very flawed. But then again, Starehe politics has, for the past goodness knows how many years, been controlled by two people, Minor Commander and Bishop Margaret Wanjiru.
Yes.
And now we've seen those two out of the picture and very new entrants, because all your competitors are also very new in politics.
Yeah.
Steve Mbogo and Jaguar also having their first stab in politics. And it's been dubbed as a battle of the youth and a battle of celebrities, because they are celebrities in their own right, and so are you.
I'm not a
But
celebrity. No.
you are,
I'm
Boni.
an
So in terms of engaging with the grassroots.
Go and Google my name online, Boniface Mwangi. Look at the pictures. Look at my competitors. When they are riding and flashy things, I'm in the streets being beaten. I'm the only person who is seated here today who has been charged in court, not for murder, not for corruption, not for anything, but for fighting for Kenyans. I've not been charged with a personal crime. Every crime that I've been taken to court is because I was fighting for something, protesting against members of parliament salaries, taking pigs to parliament. Those are the things. I haven't been arrested for anything that I've done as a person. I've been arrested for fighting for Kenyans. So if you Google my name, you can't call me a celebrity. You can call me a human rights defender, because celebrities don't get threatened by the police or the government. Human rights defenders get threatened by the government and the police.
Right. And before we get to those, because there's been a lot of death threats that you even spoke about earlier this year, but let's talk about your vision very specifically for the people of Starehe. What is it that they want?
What do the Starehe people want? They want to be safe, they want water, they want bursaries, they want their playgrounds reclaimed, they want their social centers reclaimed, because every ward has a social center that has actually been grabbed. They want to be able to walk around at night and feel safe. And they want employment. So how are we going to do that? We need to turn Starehe economy into a 24-hour economy. We have Kariakoo market, Modhuro market, retail market, Ngara market. They can all become Marikiti. They can all become 24 hours. And when they become 24 hours, you create employment. We need a 24-hour economy in Starehe. That is number one. In number two, we're going to have, in every ward, we're going to have an employment readiness training center, where if you leave school, you can come and get trained to be ready for employment, and then we deploy you. In every center, you're going to have a library where you can come and study and hang out. You're going to have a music studio you can come actually and do your art.
How are you going to actually achieve all of this?
So in Starehe 2016, the CDF budget was about 100 million shillings. Last year was, this year is actually last year was 100 million shillings. This year it was 70 million shillings, which about 40 was stolen. And so with 70 million shillings, that becomes like the starting fund. In Starehe, Starehe is actually the heart of Nairobi. We have a lot of businesses. We have banks, we have corporate companies, we have supermarkets, we have petrol stations, and all these things do CSR. And you can actually go and say, we have 5 million shillings allocated to build a library. Can you give us another 5? Remember this, as I sit here, I'm the founder of Part 254, which is an art center, a community hub where we train Hathe Band, Julian was one of us, Sarabi Band, Teardrops, all these artists, even graffiti artists. If we use that fund as an incubation fund, we can be able to work with corporates to get more money. I'm able to fundraise from people like you. For example, if you came from Ziwani, Mariga is from Ziwani, is from Starehe. Wanyama is from Starehe. And you can tell Wanyama, why don't you come and put us for us a pitch? We name it after you, because the man earns a lot of money. So it's possible actually to crowdfund what we want to bring in Starehe.
Make it happen. Those are all great ideas, Boni.
Remember this. I'm running a campaign funded by the people. I'm the only candidate who's going around asking people for M-Pesa donations. My campaign is fully funded by Kenyans.
Right.
No other person. 10 bob, 20 bob. If I want reflectors, I go online and say, I need 1,000 reflectors. Guys, send me money.
All right. And that's all great, and we'll get to that. But the thing is, usually, when we've seen this before, very great young aspirants with great ideas coming in and championing for the rights of people as activists, but as soon as they get into power, and I'm going to point out Atababu Namwamba for this, because he was a very promising young man, and as soon as he gets into power, he seemingly conforms. When you go to Rome, you do as the Romans do. So why run for the seat and not continue to fight for the rights of these people as an activist on the ground?
Because I want to show Kenyans that there's a possibility of good leadership and servant leadership. I've been fighting against MP salaries. I want them to go and get a pay cut. I've been fighting against bodyguards for MPs and allowances and cars. I want to go to Parliament and show that is not there. I rode here on a boda. My helmet is over there. I'm still riding. And when I go to Parliament, I'll be riding. I want public service to become public service. That when you go to politics, you're not going to become rich. You're going to either to serve the people, not become popular. So I want to give them an example. And I'm a godly man. I want to go to Parliament and say, actually, good leadership is possible. I haven't changed. I don't have a PA. You guys called me. Did you go through a broker?
No.
The guys of Starehe call me like I'm accessible to everyone.
But you're not there just
and
yet.
We hope that
And I will not change.
We'll only wait to see whether that will be maintained. But you've made such a huge impact as an activist. Don't you feel that it is incumbent upon you to at least continue being a watchdog, as opposed to now joining into the camp? Because your voice could be muzzled a bit when you're in there as opposed to when you're on the outside.
So last year, when the president wrote to me, President Uhuru Kenyatta, commending my work, and he said that he appreciates what I do and I'm patriotic and other things. His complaint was that he feels that he's alone in the battle against corruption. And that has been the same complaint even with Raila Odinga saying, oh, there's a lot of monsters and cartels. In our parliament, you need brave people to offer oversight over public funds. What I'm doing outside parliament, I can do it inside parliament. I'm not going to change. I'm going to go to parliament and get a national platform. I'll be presenting Starehe, but
so
at the same time,
you'll still be an activist in parliament?
Actually, if you look at my flyer, it's activist Boniface Mwangi. I'm not going to change.
But activist could remain as a title. And what I want to understand,
I don't even want to be honorable. I don't even want to be honorable.
What I want to understand.
Nataka kuwa mwanara. Sikiza, acha nikwambie kitu moja. And I'll say this about Ababu and everyone else who has changed when they've gone to parliament. I don't think they were really, really good people. What power does to you, power reveals your true colors. They say give a man money and it will show you their true character. Give a man power, it will show you their true character. The truth is that without godliness and without God in you, the moment you're put under power and the money, the true colors come out. Let me tell you, if I was doing what I was doing today for fame or money, I'll be either in NASA or Jubilee, because that's guaranteed. I'll be given money. And I've taken the popular route of supporting one of the main two leaders and get support and get money and get popular. But that's not what I want to do. I want to fight this fight. And if I do not win, I leave it to my kids to continue. I want to show people actually there can be a different kind of leadership in this country. And let me tell you, if Boniface Mwangi succeeds to become the next member of parliament in Starehe, without bribing a single voter, without having money but being funded by the people, being a son of a hawker who dropped out of school and did his KCC last year, being that guy, if I'm able to make it, it will give hope to millions of young Kenyans, born poor, of single mothers, of mothers who hope to feed them. They will be given hope that
and that's what we need to delve into,
possible.
because how different is your campaign on the ground? Because like you mentioned, you're running against two people who are being funded by the two major parties. And voter bribery in the country has become such an ingrown thing that even voters expect you to give that money. And like you said, your campaign is being supported or funded by these very same voters. So how different is your campaign as opposed to those who will be dishing out money?
So I don't drive in a caravan. I walk around and I speak to one person after another person. I'm doing more of civic education than even campaigning. I engage people one-on-one. People ask me for money. They ask me for things. I tell them I don't have money, but I have policies. I say, here is my manifesto. Ask my rival what they're selling to you. This is me. I've done this, this is my track record. It speaks for itself. And I think voters are very clever people. They're very smart people. And at the end of the day, they're going to make a wise decision.
Right. I mean, is your campaign also based on trashing your opponents? Because you've also been raising several concerns on your social media pages with regard to your opponents as well. Steve Mbogo especially, he was supposed to be here. We'll keep saying that, but he has not made it, especially with regard to where he gets his money. And you've been posting a lot of that. Is that part of your campaign strategy?
It was one tweet. Let me tell you, I haven't posted a lot. It was one tweet, but my supporters went on and on. There's a one question. So Steve Mbogo comes to KTN last week on Friday, and he calls me a heckler. Same thing the deputy president called me, and I don't refuse that. I'm a heckler. Activists are hecklers. You heckle corruption, you heckle problems, you heckle impunity, you heckle bad things. So I do heckle. And because of heckling, Langata primary schools have a playground. Because of heckling, we organize a memorial for Garissa victims. Because of heckling, we brought change in this country. That's what heckling can do for you. Because when you're silent, someone is going to step all over you. So I heckle when someone is being stepped over. That's what I do. So I don't refuse that I'm a heckler. So Steve Mbogo, I'm a heckler. Where's my camera? This one?
Yes.
I'm a heckler. I don't refuse that. Because of heckling, we got freedom in this country. Because of heckling, we go to multi-party. So I'm a heckler. Now, Mr. Steve Mbogo, he says he's a businessman. So my question was, what business do you do? How many people have you employed? Can you make your tax returns public?
Have you made that information
Unfortunately,
because
go online,
because
listen.
he's not here to respond
No,
to that.
all I'm
have
saying
you
is,
done the same?
yes, there are videos. I've gone on national TV, declared my wealth, And I'll make my tax returns public. You see, I have nothing to hide. I can't be a champion for transparency while hiding things. It's important. And let me tell you, I do have a problem in this country when people claim, oh, I'm rich, I'm wealthy. You say, we don't want shortcuts. We cannot lead a country with shortcuts. We want to be able to see, making wealth is not magic. There's a clear path. Where did you start? How did you do it? And if you're a law-abiding citizen, then you have nothing to hide.
All right, Boniface, and that is all true. Now, you've just admitted you're a heckler, and that's okay, but that does not necessarily make you a good leader. It makes you a good heckler. It makes you a good person who's able to bring up issues. Now, you are going to become member of parliament should you make it of Starehe.
Yes.
What credentials do you have to put on board that would prove that you can actually now take care of a whole constituency? Not heckling, but now taking care of a constituency.
Dude, I've been fighting for an entire country. Before you said that I was a very good activist, I've achieved much. Is that not even enough track record? Because the questions you're asking me, so let's use the same argument. The singer and the flashy guy, what have they done? Because the thing is,
and by this you mean Jaguar and Steve Bogo. Okay.
Because the thing is, and Kenyans, we need to be very serious about how Starehe is going to be run. We need to be very serious about this. I have a manifesto. I was one of the best photographers in this country. I worked for this company for 5 years. I left at the top of my career. I have won more awards than any photojournalist of my generation in this country. And it's open there. I've gotten letters from Uhuru, President Obama, Clinton. It's out there. Like my track record, I've been able to do, it's out there.
But all those don't speak to management.
Listen, and I've founded Power 254, which has empowered thousands of artists. Like, I've done all those things. I would really appreciate if you and members of the public and every person who votes in Starehe or even in this country to ask the same critical questions to my opponents. Because the truth is, everyone has get an easy pass. Me, I'm the only guy who went on JK Live and said, this is my world. It was on KTN when JK was here.
Right.
And
Boniface, understand me. I'm not comparing you with your opponents. Hang on, let me just get this point across. I'm not comparing you with your opponents. If they were here, I'd have asked them the same fair question. My question is, what do you as Boniface Mwangi, forget about the rest, you as Boniface Mwangi, what are you putting on the table?
Other than heckling.
I have given you have you read my manifesto? I think, engage me on my manifesto. Ask me the how.
All right, so here we go.
The
first thing you want to do is economically empower youth, women and people with a disability. And of course, reclaiming grabbed public land is one of the things that we've seen you do with Langata, the case in Nakuru, which police are still looking for you for. But many times we see this, and many politicians have this, a manifesto, but they can't really explain to people how they're going to actualize their manifesto.
I told you, it's very simple. I have a legislative agenda for Parliament, and I also have an agenda of empowering people in Starehe. Things like turning 24-hour economy in Starehe is very simple. The markets in Starehe ensure that they're safe, they're clean, they have toilets, there's no harassment. They're going to work 24 hours.
Why do you feel like the other people that have been a member of Parliament in Starehe, the likes of Minor Commander, Bishop Margaret Wanjiru, have not been able to achieve this?
When you have no vision, then you can't achieve what is there. They never had this vision. I grew up in Starehe. My entire life was in Starehe. I understand Starehe like the back of my hand. Like, that's why I'm campaigning without bodyguards. I'm going everywhere, door to door, talking to everyone, because Starehe is home to me.
Right.
So these things are achievable and much, much more.
Right.
Actually, in July, I'm going to release my manifesto and give it to everyone in Starehe. Say, this is my manifesto, this is my promise to you.
Right. And in Starehe, in terms of politics, is it personality-based politics or party-based politics? Because in terms of party-based politics, then you would be at a disadvantage, so to speak, because the Ukweli Party, as opposed to the Jubilee Party and NASA, well, you get my drift.
And I'm telling Kenyans across the country, not even Starehe, do not vote for a suit. When a suit is bad, you don't wear it. You choose to wear a different shirt or anything. If you go to a buffet and you find there's nyama choma, githeri, and there's a pile of shit, you don't eat the pile of shit. You take the nyama choma and the rice. So in the suit, you'll find a pile of shit and nonsense. Don't choose a suit. Go for the president, choose whoever you want. Go for the governor, choose whoever you want. When it comes to MP and MCA, this is low-level representation. Choose wisely, because when you're in trouble, you cannot call the president or the governor, but you can call your MP and MCA.
Right.
And let me tell people of Starehe, because this is the truth why Starehe is very contested. So you have Pangani Old Estate, you have Kariako, you have Ziwani, and you have Ngara Old Estate. They're supposed to be gentrified, and they're supposed to be demolished and build again to become something, to become modern,
more modern.
Modern houses. If you do not get someone who will fight for you, you're going to lose your home and your livelihood. So you actually need to look who can fight for you when you're being evicted from your land. Because that's the truth. The reason why you have these some rich boys running there, they are front for other people. Those guys are actually, they're babies in diapers. They've been handheld and be told what to do.
Right. Now, for you to fight for the people of Starehe, you need to, you're better off alive for them than not being there. And we've had a lot of death threats being leveled against you. You've publicly spoken about this earlier this year. Talk to us about your security in terms of campaigning, because this entire electoral period has a lot of security issues or security concerns that are being voiced by aspirants.
So I haven't been, so on the campaign trail, I haven't been harmed or attacked. I use a motorbike. I rode here. My helmet is over there. I'm actually alone. When I go with volunteers and I go to the community. And unless someone is paid to attack you on a campaign trail, it's very difficult for someone to come and attack you. So, and luckily and fortunately for me, I'm not on either side. I'm not on Nassau Jubilee side. Right. So when I go to the Nassau Jubilee side, there's no one who's going to attack me because I'm not going to push anyone to become president. I'm going to ask for my personal votes. So you realize most of the time when there's violence on the ground, it's mostly politically motivated and people have been paid. And here is the work of the police. They need to prosecute people for political crimes. I know they did that. Those are Maina Kamara supporter was killed, or Jaguar supporter was killed by some opponents, and they're taken to court. That's the kind of thing that you actually expect, that my security should not be my business. Right. My security is the government's business. That's why I don't have the right to bear arms or to carry a machete. That's the work of the police to do that.
Let's engage on your manifesto, because that's what basically is the blueprint of what
you
are putting across. Right. Okay, number one is economically empower the youth, women, and people with disabilities. We already have this as part of the Constitution, and we've had politicians talk about it. What is different about Boniface Mwangi's manifesto in that regard? And how are you going to do it? The how to.
So how do you economically empower the youth? Create
women and people with disabilities.
Very well. Create opportunities for them in the 24-hour economy. For the women, you can be able to empower them to ensure that there are a lot of women in Starehe doing formal trading. So you need to formalize that. If you have a kibanda, make that kibanda more formal, and that if you pay a levy, you don't have to pay kanjo's fees every single day. The mamamboga, the mkokoteni people, the boda guy, the trolley guys are actually economically empowering themselves. But you need to protect what they make every day from police and from the kanjo.
And I'm sure majority of the politicians would say that, but you do understand that the kanjo, for instance, sometimes is run by cartels. It's not something that you can just walk in and say, stop paying.
Cartels can be dismantled. I went to Gikomba, and for you to offload a truck of maize or bananas, you pay 10,000. If you want to get a receipt, you pay 15,000 shillings. And they collect hundreds of millions of shillings. And I went to Gikomba and asked these women, how many people take this money from you? Say they're about 10 people. And ask them, how many people are you in the market? 3,000. I said, you guys are being blackmailed and harassed by 10 guys? Because what you do, you evict those 10 people and say, we want a receipt, and for money that you're paying every day, we want clean toilets, and want you to pick up the garbage. Talking about empowerment, if you have the youth centers in Starehe, where you teach people skills to earn a living, where you give them an arts and sports fund, which means if you're an aspiring artist or sports person, there's a fund for you. If you want to go for trials in Europe, you don't even have to do a fundraiser because the community sends you to Europe. I come from a community, or even Africans come from communities where we used to educate our own and empower our own. You knew very well if you educate a child, you've educated an entire village because the child comes back to do that. Starehe becomes our village now, where we are looking how do we empower every person. Let me tell you, if Starehe becomes safe, which is Starehe is City Center, Uhuru Park, River Road, Tomboya, Kenyatta Avenue, the economy will just grow like this.
And you've mentioned the issue of trying to formalize the small businesses, the mamambogas, the mkokoteni guys. But this was a topic of debate, especially when the government raised minimum wage to 18%. And employers were saying this is not sustainable because at the end of the day, the informal sector will not feel the benefits of this 18% minimum wage. Because how does a house girl start, asking the employer now to raise my salary? How does a mkokoteni guy realize that 18% minimum wage? How realistic is it to formalize these small businesses? How are you going to achieve that?
It's very realistic. How you formalize something that is informal and put up structures. So for example, do you have a mkokoteni circle and you have mkokoteni lanes? Do you ensure that the guys in mkokoteni are able to earn more? So 18%, that's for people who are in the formal trade or people who are actually employed. But for us to actually have more money in the economy, we need to spend less money on salaries. So the government spends, our budget is about 2 trillion, 2.1 trillion. We spend 1.2 trillion on recurrent expenditure, which means we're paying salaries and stuff like that. If the government spends more money on infrastructure, on education, on health, you empower people, because a healthy nation is a powerful nation. If the Mkokoteni rider is able to go to a hospital and get treated, he works more hours. If he's able to get his kids through free primary education and free high school education, that means that he has actually more money in his pocket to spend. So the moment the government does what it's supposed to do, then these guys from Mkokoteni and the guys from Boda Boda have more money to spend in the economy. But how do you formalize an informal trade? By putting up structures and rules. Because right now, even matatus have no structures and rules. That's why matatus will be on the curb, the Boda Boda will be on the curb, everyone is on the pavement. There's just chaotic
and that needs to be brought right.
That needs to be controlled.
As it is right now, it is just 68 days to the elections and campaigns are in high gear. And so we're seeing your opponents, of course, being funded by the major parties, having very extravagant campaigns out on the street. What are we expecting from you for the next 68 days? You're
going to see more of my face door to door. I'm going to, today I'm going to Marikiti. I'll go talk to guys one-on-one. That's the best I can do. At the end of the day, I think winning is not everything in life. It's how you also win and what you teach people.
Right.
So yes, we are running a winning campaign, but you're also applying lessons on how people should run a clean campaign. So let's not even focus on what they're, all these flashy things. Let's focus on the content. We have gone through my manifesto. We've spoken about only 2 issues, the 10 things on that manifesto.
Right.
Let people engage on those things.
Okay.
I'm willing to debate my opponents any day, anywhere.
And we'll certainly
they can pick the day, the time, and the place, and just show up.
We'll give you a platform for that, to do that, but also wondering whether Member of Parliament is something that you had planned, or did you, out of your activism, realize, wait, maybe I can actually become an MP, and what your plan is after that? Because I remember, Boniface, 2 years ago, we're driving to Naivasha, and you said you'd never, ever become a Member of Parliament. So what happened?
Why not why not MCA? Why not Senator, Governor? Why Member of Parliament?
Why are you not asking me President?
Why not President?
So a wise man changes the mind, and I had to change my mind. When I looked at what Starehe was being offered, and I felt like I was on the sidelines and I could actually offer much, much more. So was it really a plan? I've always flirted with becoming a politician, which I was like, should I not? But last year, I realized, you know what, if we do not take control of the direction the country is going, we are going to end up in a very bad place. Remember, government spending is approved by Parliament. So if I want to stop protesting about our stolen money, I need to go and protect our funds in Parliament, not outside Parliament. I realized when I protested, I would go and present with them a petition. They throw it in the dustbin. That is if I made it to Parliament. But most of the time we get tear gas before we get to Parliament. So I said, why not go to Parliament as the voice of the people? Why not go to that house and do the things that I claimed that I want to change? You see, the other thing about what I've been fighting for, if parliamentarians are doing their job, I would never be in the streets. Look at the things that I fight about. Everything is actually, it's a legislative agenda or a legal agenda. It actually has nothing to do with the streets. But the reason why I'm in the streets is because they have failed to do their job. So I'm going to go to Parliament as the people's watchdog, as the people's voice. And that is when I'm going to...
Your answer to those who feel that you're possibly funded by outside donors, what would your answer be?
I've answered this question many times, even to you. And I'm like, for what? If I was being funded by foreign donors, my friend, do I look like I'm funded by foreign donors?
Well, you could be a good actor.
No.
A very good actor.
Let me say this. And it's important as well. So we live in a country called Kenya. That has a national government, a national police, has Kenya Army, Kenya Navy, Kenya Air Force, National Intelligence Service, who have spies everywhere. It has been funded to do anything, to undermine government or to do anything. The government have made it public. Let me tell you, if the government had any evidence that I was breaking any law, I would be in jail, because the government is not one of my biggest fans. That's the truth. But people use propaganda. And I ask guys, funded to do what? So because, let's say I was funded, so who is playing in Langata Primary School? Boniface Mwangi or the kids of Langata Primary School? The things that I've fought for, who do they benefit in this country? Naka Primary, I'm in court for Naka Primary where they want to arrest me.
Right.
Today, do I live in Nakuru? No. Who's enjoying that playground? Naka Primary School kids. Remember this, when Garissa massacre happened and the country refused to do a memorial, we organized a vigil, a week-long vigil, and a concert at Freedom Corner for the victims. If you Google Garissa massacre today, the images that come up is the memorial that we put up. When El Adi attack happened, we did that. When Baragoi massacre happened for the police officers, I did a protest and a mural for the police and a march to Vigilance House. I've done a protest about insecurity in Mandera. How do those things benefit whoever funds me?
Right, all right.
So Kenyans have to ask themselves critically, usidanganywe, jiulizeni, Boniface Mwangi akipigania haki za kibinadamu, akipigana na ufisadi, nani ananufaika? Ni sisi wa Kenya ama ni mtu mwingine?
Ama ni yeye mwenyewe.
Ama ni mimi mwenyewe. Kwa sababu wale watu wanasemanga hizo vitu, they don't do anything. Ask my opponents, whoever says that, okay, let's say Boniface Mwangi is funded, which is not true. What are you doing without being funded?
What are they getting across
So let's have your final comments now. For the people of Starehe constituency, those, of course, a door-to-door campaign. The question is how many, whether that will help you bag as many votes, because at the end of the day, the votes will win you that seat. So your final comments to the people of Starehe constituency.
So Starehe voters, there are 190,000 voters in Starehe. If you're voting for me, get 10 of your friends to vote for me. Be my voice. I promise I'm going to work for you. I'm going to represent you. Kama wewe ni mama mboga, bodaboda, watchman, kazi yote ambayo unafanya, mimi ndakuwa sauti yako. Hata kama ni middle class, unaishi maisha poa, you want to drive a nice car, I'll be your voice. I'll be the voice of people in parliament. Give me a chance. And guess what? You have nothing to lose by electing me. I have a track record. I've been proven. I've been consistent. I've been courageous. I'm going to be your voice. So vote for me as member of parliament for Starehe, and I'll represent you. I'm in Ukweli party. We don't have a preferred presidential candidate, so vote for whoever you want to be president. But for MP Starehe, you vote for me, and I'm going to work for you. I'll be your servant. And then donate to my campaign. I need your money. I don't have money.
All right. So, of course, head over to his social media pages for his paybill number and whatnot. But it's the activist Boniface Mwangi, who is running under the Ukweli party for the Starehe constituency parliamentary seat. And he will be contesting against ODM nominees Steve Mbogo and Jubilee nominee Charles Kanye, popularly known as Jaguar. And we will be having this debate in future days as we have them all in studio for a face-to-face debate. But this has been the Dawn debate. Many thanks for staying with us. We'll take a short break here on Morning Express. When we come back, time for our newsroom conversation with Michael Gitonga.